We're told to lower our expectations to avoid disappointment. But what if that keeps you from embracing joy? What if there's another option that lets you stay excited about life while still protecting you from frustration or disappointment? Looking back, there are too many moments in my life that were supposed to be special, but disappointment got in the way instead. It was a birthday dinner that wasn't perfect, a picturesque vacation ruined by bad weather. Each moment ended in disappointment and basically ruined the day. So then people tell us to lower our expectations in the future. But that advice bothers me the more I practice it. We're typically left with two options. Having high expectations definitely makes me more excited for what's to come. However, at the same time, it risks serious disappointment if things don't end up panning out as anticipated. So what's better? Being hopeful and risking a letdown, or expecting nothing and bracing yourself with pessimism? We're caught between the excitement of high expectations and the emptiness of low ones. Actually, high expectations aren't the problem at all. And lowering your expectations isn't the solution. There's a way to fully embrace excitement, joy, and still protect yourself. There's a massive cultural event in the state I live in that happens every year. It's called the Buffalo Roundup, and tens of thousands of people attend it. And for 15 years, I've wanted to go, but have put it off. You've got prairie hills, cowboys, cowgirls, buffalo. A lot of people here. Beautiful day. Chair. Backpack. With some snacks. And we just need to pick a spot. I think this spot will work just fine. Just mind your feet. I wanted the thundering hooves and dust in my face and to be part of it. I had this very specific vision. Yeah, I didn't see things like a movie, amazingly. Even though everything went right about the day, it was gorgeous out, people were happy, and I was right up front to see perfectly. I still fought disappointment. I tend to build not just a fantasy in my head of what it'll be like, but how I'll feel afterwards too. And that's frustrating. I ended up having a fantastic time, but that type of disappointment can be all coloring.
And here's the thing, the Buffalo Roundup is incredible. It's just incredible in ways I didn't expect.
Now, this is sort of the problem with high expectations, but I love being excited ahead of a special moment. For a long time, I was so afraid of being let down that it was better to stifle my joy and not share my journeys with people who cared about me. Believing in something good happening is far more beneficial than not believing at all. If you believe in your potential success rather than your potential failure, I firmly believe that you look for whatever your mindset is in your life. Having your expectations unmet isn't inherently bad. It just means you're out of alignment. Disappointment hurts, but treat it as a signal, not something to avoid. There's absolutely an opportunity to feel better rather than stuck. The problem is that your expectations are tied to a specific outcome that you don't control, rather than one that you do. It's the average day running errands, but hitting every stoplight is what makes the day crappy. It's the anniversary dinner planned by your partner, but since it wasn't to the specifics you imagined, you decide they just don't care about you. These are outcome-oriented expectations, where you envision something specific about an experience, and when it doesn't happen that way, you're upset. Because a specific outcome outside of your control needed to happen for it to be a good day. So what's the obvious advice? Lower your expectations next time. But here's what that really costs you. When you lower your expectations to avoid disappointment, you don't just protect yourself from pain. You rob yourself of excitement. You dim the anticipation of what makes an experience meaningful. If I had just followed that advice before my Buffalo Roundup, maybe I wouldn't have gone at all. Or I'd have approached it with a deliberate numb indifference saying, I don't really care what happens, which wouldn't have even been honest. For years, looking forward to something just meant I'd lose it. So I avoided excitement altogether. I protected myself right into a smaller, grayer existence. And I had to learn how to openly embrace joy all over again. So if high expectations create disappointment and low expectations create emptiness, what's left? You can embrace value-oriented expectations rather than outcome-oriented. As I notice disappointment creeping in, it becomes a sign that I'm relying on an outcome I can't control rather than one I can. I can't control the weather, but I can control my value in putting myself into a brand new environment. I can't control how close the action is to me, but I can control my value in being a part of something that few people get to witness. When disappointment arises because your expectations don't match with reality, you can realign with the values that you expect yourself to hold. These are personal. They orient you to what you choose to make of the life around you. This is how you can navigate through disappointment rather than avoid it altogether and potentially stuff your emotions into a little box and never feel anything. When I passed a coworker at lunch and said, "Hell yeah, taco bar," I was disappointed when they didn't acknowledge me or celebrate with me. They just kept walking by. I didn't shut myself down though and say, I guess I'm never talking to people again. I instead held value in being really excited for taco bar because I love taco bar. And when my Buffalo Roundup experience wasn't as cinematic as the movie in my head, I still embraced getting to know the people next to me. They invited me to their home for a grill out that evening where they offered me food and their favorite aloe for like the massive sunburn that I had gotten for the day. And I was really proud to have made new friends.
Looking back, I wouldn't trade that real day with the dust, the crowds, the sunburn, and the new friends for the movie version in my head. The real experience had lessons I couldn't have imagined. It's about being excited for the full experience and not just the version in your head.
Now, your values are personal and could look like having mindfulness and being present in the moment, being your genuine and authentic self when it's sort of difficult to be, or the challenges you face that day and the lessons that you gain from them. This isn't lowering your expectations. You maintain high standards and expectations for what you can control. Your engagement, your openness, and your willingness to look for what matters to you. You release attachment to specific outcomes you can't control and start appreciating moments you would have otherwise dismissed. What you choose to make meaning out of is completely your choice. And disappointment becomes a sign that you're misaligned rather than an emotional state you have to stay stuck in or just attempt to avoid altogether. And to be honest, I'm not sharing this because it's easier to hold expectations this way. It takes a level of awareness, openness, and willingness to shift your attitude in a given moment. It is much easier to just drop expectations altogether and not feel. So you can move forward this way. The next time you're disappointed, ask yourself, what did I expect to happen? And what do I value about the situation that I'm in right now? And you'll find that rather than focusing on what's bad about your situation, you suddenly become far more open to what's good.